There's something magnetic about the way attraction reveals itself. No matter how much someone tries to keep it hidden, the truth always slips through the cracks in little gestures, subtle actions, and playful behaviors. It's never about grand declarations, it's about the quiet, almost unconscious ways interest takes shape. When real attraction is there, you'll notice it in the energy, the spark, the rhythm of interaction. And once you learn to recognize it, you'll never mistake it again. Playful teasing is one of those behaviors that slips out without planning, yet it carries a very specific kind of energy. It's not the kind of teasing meant to embarrass or put someone down. Instead, it's lighthearted, charming, and sprinkled with just enough wit to keep you smiling. The words may sound like jokes on the surface, but underneath, there's a layer of flirtation that makes it feel different. It's the subtle way of saying, I see you, I notice you, and I want your attention. Think about the way a simple comment can change the atmosphere. A remark about the way you hold your coffee, the funny way you mispronounce a word, or the playful challenge about who's better at something. It all seems small, but there's intention behind it. It's never random. That kind of teasing is carefully balanced. It's not sharp enough to hurt, but it's clever enough to create tension. And tension is the fuel that keeps a connection alive. When someone is into you, the teasing comes naturally. They don't even realize they're doing it because attraction makes people want to create a spark. It's almost like testing the waters, seeing if you'll respond, laugh, or play along. If you tease back, it creates a rhythm, a dance between words that feels exciting. Suddenly, the conversation isn't just talk, it's filled with playful challenges, witty comebacks, and laughter that draws both closer without either having to confess anything openly. There's also a subtle vulnerability in this behavior. Teasing is risky because it opens the door for rejection. If you don't laugh or respond positively, it could fall flat. And yet, when someone likes you, they can't help but take that risk. It's their way of stepping closer without being obvious. The little joke, the mock serious tone, the exaggerated eye roll they give when you say something, it's all designed to make you feel comfortable while also stirring curiosity. Playful teasing also creates exclusivity. It feels like a private language, something only the two of you share in that moment. Others may not understand why the comment is funny, but you do, and that makes the interaction feel personal. Over time, these small moments stack up, building a unique dynamic that separates your connection from all the others. It's the difference between ordinary conversation and a spark that lingers. What makes this behavior so powerful is that it doesn't just make you laugh. It makes you feel seen. The teasing comes from paying close attention, from noticing the small details most people overlook. It's in the way someone remembers a tiny quirk about you and turns it into a playful joke later. That attention is flattering, and it communicates something deeper, that you matter enough for them to notice, to remember, and to weave into the moment in a light-hearted way. At its core, playful teasing is not about the words themselves, but about the emotion they carry. It's a soft push and pull, a spark of tension wrapped in laughter. A safe way of expressing interest without being too direct. When attraction is real, the teasing becomes effortless, and no matter how hard someone tries, they simply can't hide it. There is a certain electricity in the way eyes reveal what words refuse to say. When attraction is present, it lingers in the gaze, stretching moments that would otherwise pass unnoticed. A glance that should have ended in a second lasts just a little too long, carrying weight and meaning that hangs in the air. It's not just about looking, it's about holding. That prolonged eye contact becomes a silent conversation, a subtle exchange that whispers far more than spoken words ever could. What makes it undeniable is the softness and intensity woven together in that stare. It's not the cold, distant kind of look, nor is it the casual scan people give in passing. It's a deliberate focus, an attention that stays locked as if drawn by a force outside of conscious control. And then there's the smile that often follows, that mischievous curve of the lips, half playful and half knowing. turns the look into something magnetic. The combination feels almost like a secret, one that exists only between the two of you in that instant. The beauty of this behavior is how involuntary it is. A person may try to act casual to hide their feelings behind small talk, but their eyes betray them. They flicker back toward you, searching for you in a crowded space, lighting up when they meet yours again. That spark is nearly impossible to suppress because attraction naturally pulls the gaze. It's instinctive. The eyes seek what the heart desires, and that repeated, lingering glance becomes the clearest evidence of interest. It's not just the length of the stare that matters, but the energy behind it. There's warmth, curiosity, and often a sense of playfulness. Sometimes the look is held just long enough to make you wonder, was that intentional? And when paired with a sly smile, the answer becomes obvious. That smile is more than politeness. It's an unspoken admission. It says, I see you and I like what I see. This kind of eye contact creates a connection that words struggle to match. It draws you in, makes you feel noticed, chosen, singled out. It creates intimacy even in the most public settings. In fact, some of the most powerful moments of attraction are silent ones, when two people lock eyes across a room and the rest of the world seems to fade. The tension in that quiet exchange is often more powerful than any spoken confession. There's also an element of play in it. The quick glance followed by looking away, only to return a few moments later. The half-hidden smirk that dares you to notice. The unspoken challenge in the way eyes linger a second too long. It's a game that builds anticipation, a silent flirtation that grows stronger with every repeated look. Attraction has many disguises, but the eyes rarely lie. They reveal excitement, vulnerability, and desire all at once. And when paired with that mischievous smile, the meaning becomes undeniable. No matter how much someone tries to act indifferent, the gaze exposes the truth. It's a signal that cannot be hidden, a pull too strong to disguise, and once you catch it, you know exactly what it means. There's a language in touch that speaks louder than words, and when attraction is present, it almost always finds a way to slip through. It rarely starts with anything obvious. Instead, it comes in the form of casual, almost accidental gestures, a brush of the hand when passing something, a light tap on the arm during a joke, a gentle nudge when playfully teasing. To anyone else, it might look meaningless, but in reality, those small touches are filled with intention. They are subtle attempts to close the distance, to test the waters, to feel the connection in a way that words cannot provide. Touch carries weight because it breaks boundaries. Most people are careful about personal space, but when there is genuine interest, that carefulness fades. The natural instinct to reach out grows stronger, even if it's disguised as something casual. That momentary contact is not about necessity. It's about closeness. Even the most fleeting touch carries an energy that lingers far longer than the physical moment itself. The fascinating thing is how effortless it looks. It doesn't feel staged or forced because it isn't. Attraction creates a magnetic pull that shows itself in body language, and touch becomes one of the clearest signals. Whether it's brushing away something imaginary from your shoulder, holding onto a handshake just a little longer than necessary, or playfully bumping into you while walking side by side, every touch is an expression of interest hidden in plain sight. What makes it powerful is how it mixes comfort with curiosity. On one hand, the touch shows a level of ease and confidence, a sense that being near you feels natural. On the other, it carries a spark of curiosity. How will you react? Will you smile, lean in, or perhaps touch back? It's a subtle invitation to respond, to engage in a wordless dialogue that builds chemistry. This behavior also leaves a lasting impression because touch awakens memory. Long after a casual conversation fades, the memory of a light brush on your hand or the playful squeeze of your shoulder lingers. The body remembers the feeling, and with it, the meaning attached. That's why these small, seemingly insignificant touches feel so much larger. They carry emotional weight. There's also an undeniable rhythm in how these touches happen. They aren't constant or overwhelming. They come in small bursts, enough to create intrigue without crossing lines. It's that balance of subtlety and boldness that makes it flirty rather than inappropriate. Too much would feel uncomfortable, but just enough keeps you wondering and leaves you craving the next moment it happens again. Attraction has many ways of showing itself, but casual, natural touch is one of the hardest to hide. It may seem unintentional on the surface, but underneath lies the desire to bridge distance and create connection. It's a soft, silent form of communication, and once you notice it, you'll see how clearly it reveals what words are too careful to say. There is something fascinating about how the body gives away secrets that the mind tries to conceal. When attraction takes hold, movements begin to align without conscious thought. It's not planned, not rehearsed, yet somehow the rhythm of two bodies falls into sync. One leans in, and the other instinctively follows. A hand moves across the table, and almost as if pulled by an invisible string, the other mirrors it. This mirroring of body language is one of the clearest, yet most unconscious, signs of interest. It happens because the human brain is wired to connect, and when someone is drawn to you, they subconsciously reflect your gestures, posture, and even your tone. It often begins subtly. You cross your legs, and moments later, theirs are crossed in the same way. You tilt your head while listening, and suddenly they're tilting too. The synchronization feels natural, almost invisible if you're not paying attention, yet it carries a strong message. I'm with you. I'm tuned into you. It's a form of unspoken harmony that reveals closeness even before words confirm it. This mirroring creates comfort. When someone reflects your movements, it sends a signal to your subconscious mind that you're understood, that you're on the same wavelength. It makes conversations flow more easily because the nonverbal cues are already working in your favor. The attraction doesn't just stay in the words exchanged. It extends into the body, creating a sense of intimacy through alignment. There's also playfulness hidden within this behavior. Sometimes the mirroring is subtle, almost invisible, and other times it can be exaggerated in a way that sparks laughter. It might show up in the way someone leans in just when you do, or raises their glass right after you lift yours, creating a small moment of shared rhythm. These gestures feel light-hearted on the surface, but beneath them lies the undeniable truth of attention and interest. What makes it even more powerful is that it isn't something that can be easily faked. Sure, someone can try to consciously copy body language, but real mirroring happens without awareness. It's automatic, a reflection of genuine engagement. And because it happens unconsciously, it's one of the most reliable signs of attraction. The body simply cannot help but align itself with the person it's drawn to. This synchronization also deepens the sense of connection. When two people move in harmony, even in the smallest ways, it creates a flow that feels natural and effortless. It's as though the interaction is no longer two separate energies, but one shared rhythm. That's why conversations with attraction often feel so easy, so comfortable, as if you've known each other longer than you really have. In the end, mirroring body language is more than just copying movements. It's a silent confession of interest, an unconscious way of saying, I feel close to you. It's the body's way of closing distance without making it obvious. And it's one of those signs that no matter how hard someone tries to hide, will always slip through when attraction is real. Inside jokes are one of the most powerful signs of attraction because they create a world that only two people can enter. They begin innocently, almost accidentally, from a small comment, a funny observation, or a shared experience. But once that spark is captured and repeated, it transforms into a private connection. What may seem meaningless to others suddenly holds weight, and the mere mention of that word, phrase, or look can trigger laughter and warmth that only the two of you understand. That exclusivity is the heart of flirtation. It builds a bond that feels unique, intimate, and impossible to replicate with anyone else. The beauty of inside jokes is that they grow naturally. They don't need to be forced. A single moment of humor can become a reference point that reappears again and again, strengthening the connection each time it's recalled. When someone remembers those small shared laughs and brings them back in future conversations, it shows attentiveness. It's proof that they were not only present in the moment, but also cared enough to hold on to it. That kind of memory signals interest because attraction always sharpens attention. Over time, these little jokes become a secret language. They can be exchanged with just a glance, a raised eyebrow, or a playful smirk. A room full of people may have no idea while you're both laughing, and that makes it even more powerful. It creates a bubble where only two exist, reinforcing the idea that the connection is special, private, and separate from everything around it. That sense of exclusivity is deeply attractive because it gives the feeling of belonging to something rare. Inside jokes also carry a flirtatious undertone because they mix humor with intimacy. Humor lowers defenses, making people feel at ease, and intimacy deepens the bond. Together, they create comfort wrapped in excitement. Each shared laugh builds trust, but it also sparks playfulness, the perfect balance between safety and thrill. It's this balance that makes inside jokes irresistible when attraction is involved. Another layer is the consistency. Attraction thrives on patterns, and when someone consistently recalls and brings up those private jokes, it keeps the connection alive even when the conversation drifts to other topics. It's their way of pulling you back into that shared space, reminding you of the bond that only you two share. That repeated thread of humor becomes a flirtatious anchor, a constant reminder that there's something uniquely yours within the interaction. Even silence can carry the weight of an inside joke. A glance exchanged at the right moment can trigger a laugh without a single word spoken. That ability to communicate without speaking shows a level of closeness that others cannot miss. It demonstrates not only attraction, but also a deeper sense of understanding, the kind that feels effortless and rare. Ultimately, the creation of inside jokes is never just about laughter. It's about weaving a thread of intimacy that connects two people more tightly with every shared moment. It's attraction disguised as humor, interest hidden in playfulness, and a bond that others can't touch. When inside jokes start to bloom, it's a sure sign that someone is not only paying attention, but is also fully invested in keeping that spark alive. Attraction has a way of making someone crave attention, and no matter how carefully they try to hide it, the effort shows through. When interest is strong, little behaviors emerge that are all about being noticed. Sometimes it's as simple as laughing louder than usual when you're nearby, or shifting their energy in a way that ensures your eyes will find them in the room. These gestures might look casual on the surface, but they are intentional in their own subtle way. They're designed to pull your focus without openly asking for it. The most telling sign is the way presence suddenly becomes consistent. They appear in places they know you'll be, timing it so naturally that it doesn't feel like coincidence. They might linger a little longer in your space or find excuses to be around without it seeming forced. It's not about desperation. It's about proximity, about being within reach so that the opportunity to interact naturally presents itself. This closeness is their quiet way of saying, "I want to be seen by you." Another layer is the way they insert themselves into conversations, often steering topics in your direction. It may come in the form of a question, a playful comment, or a story told just loud enough for you to hear. These moments aren't random. They're carefully chosen to create openings for engagement. Attraction fuels a need for connection, and the easiest way to spark it is to make sure your attention is captured, even if only for a brief moment. What makes this behavior flirtatious rather than obvious is the subtlety. It's never a direct demand for focus. Instead, it's wrapped in charm, in little gestures that seem light-hearted but carry a deeper purpose. Adjusting posture when you walk by, catching your eye with a playful glance, or shifting their tone to draw you into a conversation. All of these are signals of someone working harder than usual to stand out, even if they pretend otherwise. There's also creativity in these efforts. They may find unique ways to make themselves memorable in your presence, whether through humor, storytelling, or small acts of kindness that draw your attention without anyone else noticing. Each gesture is an attempt to carve out space in your mind to ensure that when you walk away, they remain unforgettable. That desire to leave an imprint is one of the strongest indicators of genuine attraction. The energy itself changes when they're around you. They become more animated, more expressive, as if every action is amplified slightly in your presence. This heightened behavior is not about performance. It's the natural outcome of wanting to impress, to capture your gaze and keep it there for as long as possible. Even if they try to downplay it, the extra effort shines through in the way they carry themselves. Ultimately, going out of the way to get attention is never about grand gestures or dramatic displays. It's about small, deliberate actions woven into everyday moments. Enough to catch your eye, enough to keep you curious. And while words can be carefully chosen to conceal feelings, these efforts to be noticed are impossible to mask. They reveal the truth every time, because when attraction is alive, the desire to be seen becomes too powerful to hide. Attraction is rarely loud, and it doesn't always announce itself with words. Instead, it slips through in laughter, in glances that linger, in the playful brushes of touch, and the secret jokes that no one else understands. It's there in the rhythm of movements that fall into sync, and in the effort someone makes just to be seen, even when they try to make it look effortless. These little behaviors, so subtle yet so consistent, reveal more than any confession ever could. Once you learn to recognize them, you begin to see the truth hiding in plain sight, that real interest cannot be masked. It shows itself in a spark, a tension, an undeniable energy that pulls two people closer. And in those moments, words become unnecessary because the actions already speak the language of attraction.